two main ones. But before I do that, I want you to understand that in resolving energy or resolving energy, oil and gas dispute through arbitration, there are certain things that has to take place. For instance, in the energy and gas sector, the energy projects and oil and gas projects are usually very long and complex, and they require a substantial level of capital. And because of that, players and investors would not want anything to disrupt their business. And you also understand the fact that even as you have a certain level of capital investment that is involved in this sector, we also understand that there are significant exposure or risk to disputes, and conflicts arising from probably geological events that are thought of, political changes, maybe even change in government, whether at the community level to the state level. And then we also have environmental factors and environmental regulations. We all know what's going on right now in Nigeria. For instance, LNG has declared force majeure, meaning that they can't even meet their suppliers. They can't meet their responsibility to their suppliers. And so definitely some level of dispute is going to arise as a result of that. So this is one of the reasons why you find that arbitration has become a big player, a big means of dispute resolution in the energy, oil, and gas sector. Most of the disputes in the energy, oil, and gas sector are resolved by arbitration. And I think one of the reasons why arbitration is preferred is because arbitration as a dispute, arbitration as a dispute resolution mechanism, is employed by a lot of foreign investors and players in the oil and gas sector, because one, it is voluntarily, it is based on the consensus of the parties. And secondly, it allows the parties some level of privacy, and confidentiality in the course of, trying to resolve the disputes and continue with the business. And the beautiful thing about arbitration is the fact that it allows the parties to actually isolate the challenges, the areas of dispute, while the business continues, and then deal with it separately as a different issue. So it's not like litigation where there's a lot of acrimony, there's a lot of aggression and adversity, but it's still a gentleman way of settling disputes when we talk about dispute resolution. But however, once parties decide that they want to use arbitration to resolve that dispute, they have to enter into what we call an arbitration agreement. It has to be something that is written, to say that we want arbitration to govern a dispute resolution mechanism, and it has to be signed by both parties for it to be valid and for parties to go to arbitration. So in addition to that, I also know that the courts also, in today's world, also refer matters to arbitration, where the parties have decided that they're going to look at use arbitration as a dispute resolution mechanism. So in resolving energy, oil, and gas disputes, I'm focusing on arbitration and mediation outside the four mechanisms I mentioned earlier. I mentioned negotiation, arbitration, mediation, and conciliation. But these are the two main ones that are used, particularly arbitration in resolving energy, oil, and gas dispute. And mediation also is coming up now, because mediation is still a voluntary process, almost like arbitration. But the difference is that mediation is not structured, it's not technical. It's something that anybody can facilitate, kind of like enable two parties to come to a place of resolution without having to take part or take sides or suggest to the parties what to do in terms of the dispute. So you want to ask me, what are the advantages of arbitration? Why do parties don't actually go for arbitration, and particularly in the oil and gas sector? Number one, when your business involves a lot of capital, the capital involved is substantial. Definitely you want to save time. You want to use a reliable means to resolve the dispute. You want to ensure that your business, your trade secrets are maintained, are kept confidential. And so the privacy is a big key in arbitration, unlike the regular course. And then it's a friendly way of resolving dispute. We can walk into an arbitration and come out smiling, even though we have not yet resolved the dispute, because it's really a gentleman way of trying to resolve dispute or disagreements between parties. And then arbitration allows for experts to be involved in dispute resolution. You know, in the regular courts, it is judges that are the umpire there. And we all know that judges, their level of knowledge is limited more to law. But in arbitration, anybody can serve as an arbitrator. So it is the window of opportunities for professionals to be able to be appointed as arbitrators in the areas of their technical expertise. So if you have an energy or oil or a gas dispute, the typical ideal thing to do will be to appoint someone that is an engineer in the petroleum sector, or an engineer and someone that is into
Hello, Mrs. Shala, are you there?
I'm sorry, this is technology. We'll get there by the grace of God. This is where we are in Nigeria. So sorry about that. I'm actually using two different networks, so I have to like pop in and out. Okay, so I was talking about the binding nature of arbitration, that arbitration is the finality when it comes to resolving the dispute. And it is convenient. You can decide that, you know, we want to do it in a particular office or a particular building, not far away from where the parties are, or where the locus or the subject matter is situated. You can decide to do it anywhere. And also that there's party autonomy. The parties are in charge of the entire process. They decide what happens during arbitration. So the question will now be for us, why energy arbitration? Why should we use arbitration to resolve energy disputes? The thing why we propose, why we always suggest, is the fact that when it comes to energy disputes, because of the issue of time, capital intensivity, and the fact that the parties want to be sure that they close the deal faster and move on. So arbitration is the first step, and it creates clarity. You know what is going on. You are able to open up to changes and developments within the global space. The energy arbitration provides opportunity for you to reach rapid and impartial results. You know, instead of having to prepare loads and loads of documents called weaknesses upon weaknesses, and sometimes even have your weaknesses evidence thrown out by the court, maybe because of one little flimsy reason or the other, that really has nothing to do with the veracity of the witness testimony. So it provides a broad level of freedom, you know, and enables you to contribute to the process. So arbitration is not something that you, that is the party, go and sit down and your lawyer is just speaking. You have a role to play in the entire process. Arbitration also is carried out in a language that the parties and arbitrators, the parties have chosen, so that they can be able to, you know, partake in the process and evaluate all that has happened during the proceedings. So the other question I want to ask, which I know is on top of a lot of your mind, is women, why women in energy, oil, and gas? What is the relationship? Why this pitch today? So one of the main reasons why I'm doing this today, I was speaking to you about the need for women in energy, oil, and gas to be involved in arbitration, is because it will provide your members an additional career opportunity. So you don't have to just stick to your primary career or primary source of income, but also be sure to make some money, good money from arbitration. Sometimes even money that you cannot make from your regular business. And the second reason is that we want women in energy and gas to be able to lend their voice. I know that your group is championing gender diversity, gender equality, inclusion of women. And so for that to also take place, it's also a forum for you to be able to showcase what you do and also advocate for some of these ideologies that women in energy, oil, and gas believe in, and which I also believe in as a woman when we talk about gender diversity and more inclusion. Arbitration right now is actually a male-dominated space. So it's a good time to come in because there's still room for growth. Like you heard Dr. Dominic say that it is still new in this part of the world, but it's in this developing. And the earlier you step into it, the better it is, unlike when it's already saturated. Women in energy, oil, and gas will be able to, acquire technical knowledge and expertise, skills in arbitration and AGR. These skills will be useful to you in your career, in your business, and even your leadership role. So that it's not all the time when there's a dispute or a problem that you want to run to court, you want to call your lawyer. Even though you are not a lawyer, but you already have some training in law, because our courses also have some law courses that you will also undertake that provides you a broader perspective of what you ought to know and what you should expect when there is a dispute or a controversy or a claim, or even questions of interpretation. So this is one of the reasons why it is very important, it is imperative that women in energy, oil, and gas become a part of this process. And finally, I believe that becoming a part of the arbitration space will help women in energy and gas to create more awareness and also encourage the young girls and women, those that are even coming up under your STEM program, to have a good understanding of dispute resolution in the energy, oil, and gas sector. So some of this dispute actually can be prevented if you know the right skills to apply and the first steps to take. So you will see that it is not only about having a career as a source of income for those of us that want a secondary source of income, and even for those of us that are almost at the retirement level where you're about to retire. This is also a good place to be in, because it is not all the time that you will be out there pursuing working as an arbitrator. There's a high season and a low season for it, and you can choose. You can decide whether you want to take a matter or not take a matter. So there's that level of flexibility is there. Unlike our regular career jobs where we work 8 to 5 or 7 to 4, and we're doing that day in and day out, 5 days a week, and so even during our weekends, that's where we're working. So it gives you some form of work and life balance when you are involved in arbitration. So I will now talk about legislative framework for arbitration. Legislative framework for arbitration in Nigeria energy, oil, and gas sector. I decided to, highlight some of the laws that are applicable to arbitration process parties, particularly even when you are in the energy and oil and gas sector. Some of the laws that you need to be conversant with. And you can take at your spare time, you can read them and understand more. So all of these laws here talks about the fact that you need to use arbitration to resolve dispute. I recall that even in the NCMD, the Nigerian Content and Monitoring Board, and I know they've been championing that to, begin to apply local content, even to dispute resolution. I actually had a conversation with them, but somewhere along the line, I don't know what happened. It didn't progress, But these are part of the initiatives that I think that we could, jointly begin to also look at and push for at the federal level. So what are the categories of disputes in the energy sector using arbitration? There are disputes between state and private parties. There's a contract-based dispute, there's treaty-based dispute, there's domestic investment, law business, dispute between private parties. So you can see that there's a whole level of disputes. So many areas that you can be involved in. You can actually specialize in one of these areas. So say, okay, you know what? I don't want to be a generalist. I want to specialize probably in state and parties and dispute, or treaty-based disputes, or investment, either international law or domestic investment. So common energy disputes that are suited for arbitration, I just wanted to also highlight them so you are aware of them. Number one is the joint venture and joint venture operations agreement. You have the gas price review. You want to review your gas price. Sometimes there are disputes and they need to go to arbitration. You have engineering and construction, whether construction of oil rigs or gas terminals and things like that. Then state measures, if the state takes certain actions, certain decisions that is inimical to the interests of investors and players in this sector, definitely there will be dispute, and then you have to go to arbitration. They also have international boundary dispute between states. Once, remember the Bakassi issue between Nigeria and Cameroon. All that was fueled up by the discovery of oil in the Bakassi Peninsula. So now I'm going to talk about the Nigerian Institutional Arbitrators that I am privileged to be the Registrar and Chief Executive Officer. So the Nigerian Institutional Arbitration was founded 43 years ago, precisely in leadership of former Attorney General of the Federation and former Judge of the World Court at the Hague, Justice Bola Ajibola SAN, and also is presently also the founder of Christian University. So our mission is to promote the administration and develop the administration development and domestication of arbitration and alternative dispute parties in Nigeria and beyond. So you can see for our mission that we are very, very particular about domesticating arbitration and ADR in Nigeria, meaning that we are particular about ensuring that Nigerians own their space and not what is currently obtainable, where the major players in the energy, oil, and gas sector, when it comes to dispute resolution, are not Nigerians. Nigerians practically just get a trickle or crumbs from it. But we want to see how we can get more Nigerians involved, and particularly we women take our place, when it comes to dispute resolution. So the objectives of NICAB are there. There are more than this, but I just decided to just put forth this out. We promote and facilitate the settlement of dispute through arbitration. We have an arbitration ADR center where we also administer arbitration for disputes. We also serve as appointing authorities. We provide training, continuous professional development for our members as well as for other professionals. We also ensure we maintain the standard of skills, standard of ethics and conduct of arbitrators, of our members, to ensure that they are of the highest level. We advocate, we do a lot of advocacy work to create awareness on development within the arbitration and ADR space in Nigeria and beyond. So the question will now be, why should you choose NICAB to be your training provider or the institute you ought to belong to, if you decide finally, when you decide finally to undertake an arbitration training, if you're interested in becoming an arbitrator in the energy sector? And I believe that you should be interested, because it is one for us to do a lot of the talk, and at the end of the day, go back home with the crumbs. We need to begin to take our place, as not just as Nigerians, but also as women. We all know that if you build the woman, you build the city. So that's definitely why we need to play a major role. The Nigerian Institute is Nigerian and Pan-African focused. We are very focused about Nigeria and Africa, and we want to see in the practice of arbitration, not only within Nigeria, but even the African space. We also believe in promoting gender equity and inclusion in all areas of our work. And that's one of the conversations I have with Dr. Dumi, to say, you know what, NICAB right now, we have a lot of space for women to come in and begin to promote themselves and, occupy sensitive, strategic positions within the institute and outside. NICAB has room for growth and development within our hierarchical structure as presently constituted. So those women, those of you that are really interested in arbitration and you want to make it a career, there's room for growth for you to not only say I'm a member of women and then decide that you want to be a domestic or an international arbitrator, the choice is yours. The Nigerian Institute of Arbitrators has trained over 5,000 of members, and our membership spread is across diverse professional background. We have engineers, we have architects, we have lawyers, we have surveyors. Our diversity is about inclusion. So with everything we do, we take into consideration gender, ethnicity, cultural differences, all of that comes to play in the course of our work. The Nigerian Institute of Arbitrators has national presence in Nigeria and in other countries like Canada, Japan, United Kingdom, United States. So for instance, for adventure, you travel out of Nigeria, you can still have roots even in whatever countries that you find yourself in. So our professionals across the nation benefit from our trainings, our seminars, our conferences. We do not only just train Nigerians, but we train across the boundaries of this nation. And the Nigerian Institute of Arbitration was the first arbitration and ADR institute in Nigeria to start online training. And we moved on from online trainings, we move on to hybrid trainings, even for conferences, we're also the first. So the Nigerian Institute is actually the preferred and the premier arbitration institute, not only in Nigeria, but in sub-Saharan Africa in the last 43 years. So our strategies that we have applied over time is to ensure that we do a lot of advocacy in promoting arbitration. We also do capacity building, and a good number of our times hours are given to research work. And that is why the Nigerian Institute is the only institute in the whole of Nigeria that produces an intellectual material like a journal. We have arbitration referral services where arbitration refer to us, and we appoint arbitrators. Then we also do a lot of strategic partnership. I believe one of the reasons why we are having this conversation and doing this speech is to see how we can have a strategic partnership with women in energy, oil, and gas. And I'm hopeful that at the end of this presentation, we will definitely be able to do that. Our membership comes across student member. We have qualified mediators, we have associates member, which is our foundational members. We have members, we have fellows, and we have corporate members under our strategic partnership, organizations and institutions that are also member of the institute. For our corporate members, we provide them with advice, provide them with professional opinion, and sometimes we also provide some services to them to avoid having to run to court in the first instance. So we ensure that the membership strength that we have, we tap into it on behalf of our corporate members to provide services to them. So if you become a member of the Nigerian Institute of Arbitrators, you have access to our library and e-center. You also have discounts in all our seminars, workshops, and conferences. And at the end of each year, you get a journal from the institute. You could also be included in the faculty if you're interested in training. If teaching is your area of strength and you love teaching, you can be part of the faculty. And you can be admitted as a member of a panel of neutrals, and you have your link on our website and at all our events projected. So we also have online resources that we back up, that we provide for our members. They also the opportunity for you to network with other professionals across both within and from outside Nigeria. So our activities are a lot. We have a lot of activities. We have different training programs. We have conferences, invest to our members. We also do projects and programs in the area of access to justice and dispute resolution. And finally, we run an arbitration center that provides international best practice service for the administration of hard work and institutional arbitration, whether it is domestic or international matters. We're available to do that. And this, our center is open for our site is open for rentals. If you need a place for short meetings or for work office working out of your office, it's available for rentals. And these are the key services that we provide at the center. And finally, I have actually taken the liberty of including model arbitration clause for those of us that are contract managers in our various organizations, or we are lawyers, or we work in a unit where we get to vet contracts or make input to it. This is the model arbitration clause for us, because one of the challenges that we found in arbitration is the fact that If the arbitration clause is defective, the arbitration process is dead on arrival. There's nothing the parties can do about it. So we always want to promote a model arbitration clause so that if you want to use arbitration as a means of dispute resolution, that's your choice, then you must do the right thing by ensuring that your arbitration clause is effective and valid enough for it to be upheld by a court of law if a party should contest it later in the future. So I would like to bring this presentation to close and then open up for section from members of women in energy, oil, and gas. So thank you very much, Linda, and thank you, Dr. Duni, for the opportunity. So I turn over the floor to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Shola Oshodi. I enjoyed the presentation. I think I want to be an arbitrator. With all the experience I have, I shouldn't waste it. I should come and join.
Definitely.
Over to you, Dr. Duni.
Questions and answers.
Okay, so we're at the question and answer section. So if you have any question, you could post it on the chat and we will read it out to the presenter for her to answer. Okay, Kate, Pam, I see your hands up. You want to ask a question?
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I see able president. There's a question that Dr. Duni just asked in the chat group, and that was the question I was about to ask because I joined partway through the presentation. I had to leave another meeting to join. First of all, thank you very much, Mrs. Shola, for a very articulate presentation and for opening our eyes to the opportunities to arbitration in the oil and gas industry. So the question for us that are in business and all that, can anybody without a law qualification and that join? What will it take? What courses do we need to take? And how much money and time will be required, for that process to happen? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Kate, for that question. Very apt question. I am sorry you came in a bit late, but the slides are available for you. You can go back and read them up and digest it. When we talk about arbitration or disputes resolution, all professions have disputes. And so technically, you need professionals from all professions to handle disputes. So if you recall, I had said the fact that the reason why parties prefer arbitration is because arbitration avails them the opportunity to appoint experts with subject matter knowledge in that particular area to serve as arbitrators. So arbitration is open for all professionals, and our membership base of over 5,000, at least a minimum of 25% of our members are non-lawyers. So please, it is open if you're interested, and the space is still open and very wide for us to accommodate more people. And particularly for us as women, I want us to take it up, not just because you want to also work as an arbitrator, but because, when you are informed, you are able to hold your own anywhere. Fortunately, in this part of the world, once you're a woman in a leadership position, they expect more from you. You have to give more. So for you to give more, it means you have to work harder than the male folks. So in working harder, it also involves your being able to understand some of these issues or conflict areas that may arise later on in the course of your career or business. So it's not all the time you want to say, call the lawyer, or call the counsel, you know. No, some of these things on your own, once you have the requisite knowledge, you can handle them on your own and resolve them where possible. It is only maybe in extreme cases where, you know, the other party is not willing, or where you have left your flanks exposed, that you end up in the litigation where you now need the assistance of a lawyer. But when it comes to arbitration, you don't need to be a lawyer to be an arbitrator. And that is the beauty of arbitration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Shola. There's another question. The question says, what are the consultancy opportunities in arbitration?
Okay, so when you use the word consultancy, I'm trying to balance consultancy and arbitration. And I will say that arbitration is the consultancy work. I don't know how to put it again. So if you are an arbitrator, it means you are consulting for somebody else, for the parties. You're consulting for the parties. The parties they are paying you for a service for a given period of time. So the consultancy opportunity for arbitration is open. Arbitration is consultancy. You're consulting for parties. That's what arbitration is. So basically, you can be doing your 8 to 5 job and still consult as an arbitrator for parties. I hope I've answered the question.
Yeah, and okay, so the next question is, how much will it cost to become an arbitrator?
Okay, so like, for instance, now we have different membership cadre. And when I was speaking to Dr. Tuna, I said that I was speaking to Dr. Tuna, and even in my presentation today, I made it very clear that for those of us that are coming in from the energy and gas sector, from outside the legal profession, you will need some law courses, some background knowledge of law to be effective, to function effectively as an arbitrator. Even though arbitration is not about law, but there are certain things you need to know, because arbitration is about contracts, it's about, you know, service. So there are certain law courses that you will take. So in our training for professionals outside lawyers, we do what we call a more intense training where they have to take at least 4 law courses. They take Nigerian legal system. You better understand the Nigerian legal system, how it operates. So that way, if you find yourself having to contest against a lawyer, you know what to do. You're going to take law of contract, you're going to take law of evidence. Of course, evidence law is not really part of arbitration, but you want to understand what evidence is all about. So you don't have a situation where you are an arbitrator, because you are an arbitrator from the oil and gas sector, and a counsel to the party is a lawyer standing before you, tries to bamboozle you, trying to use the legal jargon, you know, to get you off track. Because you have those knowledge, legal knowledge, background knowledge, you are able to know what he's trying to do to you and quickly checkmate him during the arbitration proceedings, so that you are in charge of the process, not somebody that is a counsel trying to dictate to you, or trying to, you know, carry the same litigation attitude to arbitration. Because what is happening in Nigeria is that people do not understand that arbitration practice is different from litigation. So you find people, lawyers, coming to arbitration with that same mentality, and they want to display it in the arbitral proceedings. So if you're an arbitrator that understands a lot of these things, you know when to call him to order, you know when to call her to order, and how to manage the arbitration process. So definitely you will do some law courses in addition to the arbitration courses. And so if you want to become an arbitrator, the first step to do is to take the associate training, because that is you start at the foundation level. Because I believe that you're coming into arbitration because you want to practice it, you want to understand arbitration, either to, you know, to provide you with more knowledge to enhance your performance in your place of work or your business or your career. So you start at the foundation level and then build your way up, rather than coming and say, oh, no, I don't want to be a foundation member. Because if you don't do it step by step, you are going to miss out on the process. And you may find out that you're carrying a title, but you don't understand what arbitration is all about. So you start at the associate level, and the training at the associate level is 300,000. It's a 5 days training, 300,000 naira per participant. But I don't want to bug you with that, because that's something that I and Dr. Duni are going to talk about offline. Thank you.
So apparently we're going to get the final cost after now.
Oh, definitely.
Correct?
Definitely.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right. So the next question is, could you explain the different professional levels to become a chartered arbitrator?
Okay, so let me first of all start that use of that word chartered. I don't like using the word chartered. I always say certified arbitrator, because when you say you are a chartered arbitrator, it's at the highest level, at the highest peak. You are saying that I am not just an associate or a member or a fellow, but I have gone beyond all the various cadres. So what it takes to be a certified, you start with the certification level, and you start from the associate level, which is foundation level. From the associate level, you graduate to the membership level. And from the membership level, you will graduate to the fellowship level. And then from there, you become a chartered arbitrator. That's the highest level you can get to. So I wanted to also add a question. I saw a question just pop up now. Somebody's asking, what about lawyers? What is the fees? Well, for lawyers, the fees are different. Okay, so if you are a lawyer and you want to take the training, you wouldn't have to do the legal courses, which other professionals will do. You start straight with the arbitration courses. So for lawyers, the fees for lawyers is 200,000. So you can see there's a difference between both fees.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shola Oshodi John. I've learned a lot. I've learned that this ADR can help me in my business, can help me in my career, can also help me in my leadership position as well. And it's something I can do at the side. It's not a regular 9-to-5 job, but it's something I can venture into and still make something out of it. And I also carry a transfer of knowledge as well, from what I know from the energy together with legal. So it makes it solid. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this presentation. I think we have a hand. Nkechi Ilora. Please, could you unmute and ask your question, please?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Madam Leader, I want to appreciate you. I think you're one of the few people that pronounced my surname correctly, Ilora. Anyway, this is an appreciation message to our speaker, our guest speaker. I got excited when she mentioned if you are a contract manager, if you review, and she had a particular slide dedicated to people like us. And I said, yes, let her know there are people like that in the room. So that's the more reason I said, okay, let me thank you for the knowledge that you have shared. I work with the procurement, I'm a contracts and procurement specialist. I prepare and review contracts. And yes, even though companies have their own templates, in fact, I just had an interview a few days ago and they were asking me if I really draft this contract myself. I said, well, I've taken, so yes, but the kind of companies I'm coming from or where I work is, you have a template that you use from HQ, but we have to get to review and update and all of that. But I've taken some contract courses. So this is like challenging me to do this because I like to upgrade. I like to develop myself professionally. And I'm definitely probably going to be one of your students in terms of this. So I said, let me just mention this. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nkechi.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you're in the room and you're not yet a member of the WEOG, we implore you to visit our website, www.weog.com, and just click the join button. And it will take you to a form. Please do well to fill out the form so that you can enjoy other benefits from WEOG organization. So I'm going to pass the virtual mic to Dr. Duni for our closing remarks and presentation. Oh, you're muted.
Was it? Oh, okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for making out time to be a part of this gathering this afternoon. And as we have heard from the
Sorry,
special guest
Dr. Duni, before you go further on. Sorry, Dr. Duni, before you go further on, there's a last question that I think I needed to draw your attention to. It's important that we take that last question, please. The question is, do you facilitate training on ADR for corporate entities? Of course, definitely we do. And this is part of the reasons why I'm saying come and join us so that you will be one of the facilitators. We facilitate ADR for corporate entities, for individuals. So we serve as mediators, we also appoint arbitrators, and also provide technical support, to say, okay, some of the cases may not be matured. I can't say everything about arbitration here or about ADR here because of a limited time. So there is a process before you can even start arbitration or any of the ADR mechanisms. There are certain processes you need to go through. And all of that, a lot of the time, corporate entities don't understand it, and they get into that trap and find themselves in litigation at the end of the day. And the key thing that I think is very relevant for those of us in this training is to always ask yourself, when you see a contract, somebody brings a contract to you that they probably have drafted, always go there and look at the dispute resolution clause. What is it saying? Is it going to favor you if there's a dispute? Never say that, oh, this business is a good deal. I don't think we're going to have dispute. Most people that are going to business never think there will be dispute. By the end of the day, before you know it, a dispute arises, or there is a controversy or a claim, and then they are stuck. So there's so much you can benefit from undertaking a training in arbitration and ADR. And I hope that you will make the informed choice to come on board and be a part of it. So thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Tony, once again for this opportunity.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much, Madam, for throwing that light. And I'd like to say that I know during our discussion, you made sure that you can actually have a takeoff training for women that would be interested in becoming arbitrators next week, and you are giving us some special discounts so that we can actually at least mark it off and start off something. I think you said associate level is the beginning level for non-lawyers.
Yes,
okay, so
level for
yeah, and
for
they
lawyers
will
as
be...
well. Except and for lawyers as well.
Okay.
Yeah, except the lawyer has over 15 years experience. But the truth of the matter is, I always advise people start from the beginning and learn the ropes. There's nothing to gain from just carrying the title.
Title. So you said it's Tuesday to
Friday.
Tuesday to Friday, and then there will be induction. You said there will be induction as well. When is induction?
Induction is November 25th. November 25th, that's when induction is.
If we join the training next week, so what you're saying is if we join
You're not joining a training, Dr. Dumi. We are putting together a training for you for next week. So basically we need 20 members of WEOG. We do not have any training. Our trainings, I told you, the last training for us, a professional calendar, ends this week. But that if your members want to come aboard and they want to be inducted this year, I can arrange for a training next week for them. But we need to have at least a minimum of 20 members to organize that training, to hold the training.
Okay, so please, for those of us on this call, please, if per adventure you are interested in starting the journey, and they are even giving us a fast track start off, such that you finish your training and then you are getting inducted alongside all the ones that have been there, only God knows how many years. I must confess, and I must let us know that that's an area that there's a huge gap. I have been in places in the course of my career in this industry, and I see that need for energy arbitrators. And the people that are currently practicing it, they are not core industry people. So if you have that interest, and you also you can just use that to use that to build opportunities, if I may use that word, on your already established experience and expertise in the industry. We have that gap, and the gap is huge. And I'd like to ask for everybody to take advantage of this opportunity. Please communicate if you're interested. You can put it in the chat box so that with your number, or you send an email, or if you're on the WEOG platform, please just reach out and let's see how many people we can the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators can bring on for next week's training, and of course the induction that will follow later. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out of your lunchtime to be a part of this. Thank you, Mrs. Linda Bright, for setting this up for us. Thank you, our erudite special guest of honor, for making this, for enlightening us in this part. I actually even see it as something one can also retire into.
Oh, definitely.
So if
I
you're
mentioned that.
still very active,
very important,
yes,
for those of us.
yes. So, yes, if you are still active, you can use it as a part-time, because from what Mrs. Oshodi mentioned, they even post jobs, so they can give you consultancy opportunities and jobs based on your area of expertise. And like I said, there are not too many energy arbitrators. So let's go and occupy. Women, let's go and quickly occupy. At least let's make that one women dominated. Oil and gas generally is male dominated. This aspect of it, let's turn it to a woman dominated. And if you want to check out people that are already practicing it, even as full-time business, not even just as a job now, as full-time business. There's a lady that is very, very active on LinkedIn called Nan Lule. She's from one other country like that. And this arbitration, energy arbitration thing she's done has given her so much worldwide exposure. I saw her with United Nations and recognition as well, exposure recognition. So you can check her out, Nan Lule. NEM Energy Arbitration or something like that is their business name. So people are doing it and it's new. So please, let's grab it and grab it fast, and let's create a space for women in that regard. Thank you very much. And of course, will also be the joy of being a paralegal too. Nobody can bamboozle you any longer. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for being a part of this meeting. WEOG Launch and Learn is a weekly program till the end of November this year. We have several experts we have brought on and will still be bringing on. Join us same time next week. Invite your colleagues, invite your friends. It's just 1 hour, between the hours of 1 and 2 every Wednesday. Thank you very much, and God bless us all. Thank you. Mrs. Emeya, I saw you. You didn't see anything today. Thank you very much, everybody.
Dr. Duni, I'm in a very noisy
environment.
Look at, I'm in the car. I went for a meeting. I'm just coming out.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
And that's why I told her. I'm just coming out.
Oh, okay. Mrs. Emeya is our regular moderator, and then she's been moderating all the previous ones we've been doing.
Nice to meet you, Mrs. Emeya.
Meet you as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
everybody.
everyone. I look forward to meeting
Good
with you again.
afternoon, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye. Can we spotlight the person talking, please? Can we spotlight the person talking? Can we spotlight the person talking?